so much. So we're still in part 1 on the secrets of the millionaire mind. So it's about the mind. So of course we're going to think the formula really is our thoughts create our feelings create our actions, and our actions create our results. And so the quote homework from last week is to start to be aware of, like, what were you hearing? What are the things that you were hearing when you were growing up about money, wealth, rich people? And then to understand how those things that you heard impacted your financial life so far. And then to realize this third step is disassociation. You're going to see that these thoughts are not part of your, not who you are. They're just the thoughts that you currently have. And then to declare, we've been doing this declaration where we put our hand on our heart. And in a moment, I'm going to talk to you about some new research that impacts this and can start impacting your life. If you're not doing this, you got to, I'm telling you, this is like the keys to the kingdom. So the declaration is, what I heard about money isn't necessarily true. I choose to adopt new ways of thinking that support my happiness and success. And then we touch our mind. I have a millionaire mind. So that was the first thing about verbal programming. The second part of that was raising our awareness about our ways of being, the modeling that we had. What were those actions that we saw? Consider the ways of being and habits that your parents had around money and wealth. And then that was the awareness. Then the understanding is, what was the effect that modeling had on your financial life? Look around, see what's going on. Third step again is dissociation, like does not define you. You now have a choice in this present moment, so that the past does not have to predict future behavior. And then the declaration for this part was, what I modeled around money was their way. I choose my way. You get to say. So, and then again, I have a millionaire mind. And what I want to share with you before we start reading is, so if you don't know me, you'll get to know that I'm a total nerd, and I love all this stuff about the brain and the science. And there's an institute called the Heart Math Institute, and really within the last few weeks they have released the results about how to harmonize the brain and the heart. So we've been like practicing, like tapping on our heart and tapping on our brain. This really helps open that connection to the unconscious. So we talk about, these are all things that happen birth to 7. It goes straight into our unconscious mind. This is so critical. We have these amazing experts with NWR Financial, and unless and until we get our unconscious programming up to speed with where we're at, you're going to continue to play out these patterns in your life and still get the results that you've always had, despite having the experts. I am telling you, this is the keys to the kingdom. So this Heart Math Institute shows that it's really they call it the heart-brain coherence. And they've discovered that if you could get your heart, not the brain, it's really the heart that dictates what the brain does and what the chemistry of the brain will then produce. So they've discovered, if you can raise your heart frequency up to 0.1 hertz, and I'm going to tell you how to do that, you'll start getting different results and start to build different neural pathways. Okay, so they know that if you can, so there's this connection with the vagal nerve. And if you don't know about that, you can Google that and look that up. It's the longest nerve, the strongest nerve bundle in our body. It controls so many different things. And it's really, I'm telling you, this is the keys to the kingdom. It will unlock access to your unconscious mind, so you could now have the life that you're saying that you want. So the brain, the connection between the brain and the heart is the vagus nerve. And then it loops back around through the spinal cord, and the heart will then inform the brain what chemistry to produce. So if you're having and feeling stressed out, they now can measure like what's going on with the heart. And then it shows that the brain then produces the chemistry of being stressed out. Well, who wants that? What kind of results do you think you're going to get there? However, when we raise our frequency, we know all things are brain patterns and frequency, right? When we raise that, then we can start programming things into our unconscious mind so that we get, like I said, the results that we want. And this is what you do. He said there's 3 simple steps. One is to bring awareness to your heart. So people say, are you in your heart? And they'll say yes. Well, how do you know? One of the very simple ways is just to gently touch your heart, because what your focus is on will then go to where that is. So like gently touch your heart, and then slow down your breathing, because when you slow down your breathing, like breathe in for 5 seconds and then breathe out for 5 seconds. That's telling our body you're safe. Breathe in for 5 seconds and breathe out for 5 seconds. You're programming your body to know that it is safe. And then you start to feel they now have 4 different emotions that they have measured, that when you bring this feeling to your heart with the awareness, that it increases your heart's the energy to 0.1 hertz, which will then kick this heart brain coherence into the way we want it to be. So those feelings are gratitude for someone or something, appreciation for someone or something. They're very well related. The next 2 are also related: care and compassion. So if you could generate those feelings of appreciation, gratitude, care, and compassion, that elevates the frequency enough so that it kicks in the right chemistry in the brain to then, you again, in Think and Grow Rich, we talked about we are magnets for what's coming our way. And what are you attracting? So it takes about 3 days to build this neural network. And again, we talked about this before, the best time of day to do these types of exercises are right when you wake up in the morning or right before you go to bed, and are thinking about and visualizing and feeling those feelings of the success, the abundance, the prosperity, the business success that you are creating and working so hard. So why not like add this little extra step in to give, like, to really supercharge your results? So we're on page 34, and it talks about the third influence, in which the specific incidences. And the third primary way in which we are conditioned is by specific incidences. What did you experience when you were young around money, wealth, and rich people? These experiences are extremely important because they shape the beliefs, or rather the illusions, that you are now living by. It is, and again, those experiences have to do with our, not just our thoughts, it's also our feelings. So he goes on to share a story. I'm not going to read the whole thing. He goes on to share a story that basically, when she was young, she would hear the ice cream truck bells. She would go to her mom and say, hey, can I have an ice cream? Can I have a quarter for some ice cream? And the mother would say, sorry, dear, I don't have any money. Go ask dad. Dad's got all the money. So then his wife would go ask her dad. He would give her a quarter. So she'd go get her ice cream cone. So what do you think she learned about money? So first, she learned that men have all the money. Go to dad. Secondly, she learned that women don't have the money. If her mom didn't have money, obviously this is the way she should be also. And to validate that way of being, she would subconsciously get rid of all of her money. So he goes on to share there was only one thing that they fought about, and that was money. And it almost cost them their marriage. And, you know, Dr. Parker has his master's in pastoral counseling, and I'm sure he could back this up. The number one reason for divorce is actually money. So what they didn't know at the time was the meanings that each of us attributed to money were radically different. So take a look in your own relationships with a significant other and or a business partner. So to his wife, money meant pleasure, enjoying the ice cream. But he, on the other hand, learned that money was meant to be accumulated as a way to create freedom. So those are very two perspectives. So as far as he was concerned, when his wife spent money, she wasn't just spending money, get this, she was spending our future freedom. Well, you can understand why that would have him be upset. And on the other side, as far as she was concerned, whenever he held her back from spending money, he was taking away her pleasure in life. So, thank goodness they discovered what their financial blueprint was. And then they consciously created their third money blueprint for their relationship. So really, you want to look at, again, we talked about, I'm going to jump ahead to page 38. Statistics show that the number one cause of relationship breakup is money. The biggest reason behind fights people have about money is not the money itself, but the mismatch of their blueprints. It doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have. If your blueprint doesn't match that of the person you're dealing with, you'll have a major challenge. This goes for married couples, dating couples, family relationships, and business associates. The key is to comprehend that you are dealing with blueprints, not money. Once you recognize a person's money blueprint, you can deal with your partner in a way that works for both of you. You can begin by becoming aware that your partner's money files are probably not the same as yours. Instead of getting upset, choose understanding. Again, we just talked about a care and compassion, right? You can have compassion for that. That's just what it was. It's not their fault. It's just what they were raised with. Do your best to find out what's important to your partner in the arena of money and identify his or her motivation and fears. In this way, you'll be dealing with the roots instead of the fruits. That was one of our principles a couple of weeks ago. And you'll have a good shot of making it work. He said, and otherwise, no way, Jose. I'm going to go on to page 39, steps for change, specific incidences. So here's an exercise you could do with your partner. Sit down and discuss the history each of you brings to your thoughts about money, what you heard when you were young, what was modeled in your family, and any emotional incidences that occurred. Again, that emotion piece is so important. It's also find out what money really means to your partner. Is it pleasure? Is it freedom? Is it security? Or is it status? This will assist you in identifying each other's current money blueprint and may help you discover why you may be disagreeing in this area. Next, discuss what you want today, not as individuals, but as a partnership. Decide and agree upon your general goals and attitudes with regards to money and success. Then create a list of these attitudes and actions you both agree to live by and write them down. Write them down. We know 80% of people who write it down, they have 80% more likelihood to actually achieve those goals. Post them on the wall, and if there's ever an issue, gently, very gently, remind each other what you decided together when you were both objective, unemotional, and outside the grip of your old money blueprints. You want to do that with a clear mind and heart. So the awareness is consider a specific emotional incident that you experienced around money when you were young. Understanding is the second step. Write down how this incident may have affected your current financial life. Disassociation. Can you see this way of being is only what you learned? It's not you. Can you see you have a choice in the present moment and be different? That's the great news. Declaration. Place your hand on your heart and say, I release my non-supportive money experiences from the past and create a new and rich future. Then touch your head and say, I have a millionaire mind. So what is your money blueprint set for? So before you could really have this conversation with your spouse, you want to get curious, like what's your own money blueprint set for? So now it's time to answer the $1 million question. What is your current money and success blueprint? And what results is it subconsciously moving you toward? Are you set for success, mediocrity, or financial failure? Are you programmed for struggle or ease around money? Are you set for working hard for your money or working in balance? Are you conditioned for having a consistent income or an inconsistent income? You know the scoop. First you have it, then you don't. Then you have it, then you don't. It always appears as though the reasons for these drastic fluctuations come from the outside world. For instance, I got a great paying job, but then the company folded. Then I started my own business and things were booming, but then the market dried up. My next business was doing super, but then my partner left, etc. Don't be fooled. This is your blueprint at work. Are you set for having a high income, a moderate income, or a low income? This is so interesting. Pay attention. Did you know there are actual dollar amounts for which many of us are programmed? Are you set for earning $20,000 to $30,000 a year, $40,000 to $60,000 a year, $75,000 to $100,000 a year, $150,000 to $200,000, $250,000 a year or more? And really, like, you could sit with those numbers. Each of, like, imagine you're earning at the next goal level. Like, I know many of us are, working towards regional and 2-star regional, right? To be a 6-figure earner in this business with this income stream. You could feel the energy, the frequency of what that feels like. And if it feels uncomfortable, then that just tells you there's some work to do here. So a guy came to his workshop and said, he was making about $500,000 a year. So like, what can you do, about that? And he said, well, that's all he needed to hear, because then he asked him, why are you not earning $2 million a year? And that really got to him. And he realized that he had set his full his financial blueprint at $500,000 a year. And what this technology, these theories do will get you to your full financial potential. So he asked him, why would you want to consider why you're stuck at $500,000 a year? And he decided then to come into the program. And then he started earning, guess what, $2 million a year, because he shifted that. And then he realized, well, why am I not making $10 million a year? So then he up leveled it again. It is, I'm telling you, it is the frequency that you're at and a brain pattern. So whatever you want to set it at, like consider, like what is my stop? What is my ceiling? So what matters is whether you're reaching your full financial potential. So I know many of you may be asking, why on earth would anybody need that kind of money? First, that very quick question is not supportive to your overall wealth and surely a sign you'll want to revise your money blueprint. So consider that. Second, the main reason this gentleman wanted to earn massive amounts of money was to support his work as a huge donor to a charity that assists AIDS victims in Africa. So much for that belief that rich people are greedy. So let's go on. Are you programmed for saving money or for spending money? Are you programmed for managing your money well or mismanaging it? Are you set for picking winning investments or picking losers? So you might begin to wonder, how could whether I make money in the stock market or real estate be part of my blueprint? Well, it's simple. Who chose the stock or the property? You do. Who picks when you buy it? You do. Who picks when you sell it? Again, you do. So I guess that you really do have something to do with that. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, because you can start to see people, like you hear people have the Midas touch, right? Or the kiss of death. Nothing, and it's really nothing more than a manifestation of your money blueprint. So once again, your money blueprint will determine your financial life and even your personal life. If you are a woman whose money blueprint is set for low, chances are you will attract a man who is also set for low, so you could stay in your financial comfort zone. Again, that's that's the brain patterns. That's what keeps us stuck in the current situation you're in, is these brain patterns. When you start to go outside of your brain patterns, then you start to feel a little bit uncomfortable. But guess what? Here's the great news. You're not in danger. All that's happening is that your brain is rewiring. That's what you want. So if you're a man who's set for a low financial blueprint, chances are you will attract a woman who is either a spender and gets all your money, or you're also going to be earning a low amount of income. So you can stay in your financial comfort zone just to validate your blueprint. So most people believe the success of their business is primarily dependent on their business skills and knowledge, or at least their timing in the marketplace. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but that's la la land, which is another way of saying not a chance. So here's the deal. Page 43, how well your business does is a result of your money blueprint. You will always validate your blueprint. If you have a blueprint that's set for earning $100,000 a year, that's exactly how well your business will do. You'll earn enough just to get you to $100,000 a year. If you're a salesperson and your blueprint is set for earning $50,000 a year, and somehow you make a huge sale that's $90,000 that year, either that sale will cancel or you're going to end up with $90,000 and get ready for a crummy year to follow to make it up and bring you back to that level of your financial blueprint. However, if you're set for earning $50,000 and you've been in a slump for a couple of years, don't worry, you're going to get it back. Once you have to. It's the subconscious law of mind and money. So again, how can you tell what your money blueprint is set for? One of the most obvious ways is to look at your results. Look at your bank account, look at your income, look at your net worth, look at your success with investments, look at your business success, look at whether you're a spender or a saver, look at whether you manage money well, look at how consistent or inconsistent you are. I'm going to add in business. Look at how hard you work for your money. Look at your relationships that involve money. Is money a struggle or does it come to you easily? Do you own a business or do you have a job? Do you stick with one business or job for a long time, or do you jump around a lot? Your blueprint is like a thermostat. If the temperature in the room is set for 72 degrees, chances are that the thermostat, you're going to have 72 degrees, regardless if you open the windows and warm air comes in or cold air comes in. Guess what? The room's going to remain at 72 degrees. That's what eventually is going to happen. So here's this wealth principle. The only way to permanently change the temperature in the room is to reset the thermostat. In the same way, the only way to change your level of financial success is to permanently reset your financial thermostat. You could try anything and everything else you want. You could develop your knowledge in business and marketing and sales and negotiations and management. You could become an expert in real estate and the stock market. All of these are tremendous tools. Like we have all these great tools, right? But in the end, without an inner toolbox that is big enough and strong enough for you to create and hold on to large amounts of money, all the tools in the world will be useless to you. Let me say that again. Unless you hold an inner toolbox that is big enough and strong enough for you to create and hold on to large amounts of money, all the tools in the world will be useless to you. Do you see why this is so important for our success of our business? Once again, it's simple arithmetic. Your income can grow only to the extent that you do. Fortunately or unfortunately, your personal money and success blueprint will tend to stay with you for the rest of your life unless you identify it and change it. And that's exactly what we're going to do continuing on in part 2. So remember, the first element of all change is awareness. Watch yourself, become conscious, observe your thoughts, your fears, your beliefs, your habits, your actions, and even your inactions, because guess what? Inaction is an action. Put yourself under a microscope, start to study yourself. Most of us believe that we live our lives based on choice, not usually. Even when we're really enlightened, we might just make a few choices during the average day that reflect our awareness of ourselves in the present moment. But for the most part, we're like robots running on automatic, ruled by our past conditioning and old habits. Those habits are brain patterns, okay? That's where consciousness comes in. Consciousness is observing your thoughts and actions so that you could live from true choice in the present moment rather than being run by the programming from the past. You know, God gave us free will. That's one of the greatest gifts we have. And this is one very specific way we can impact that. So here's this wealth principle. Touch your heart gently. Take a deep breath. Consciousness is observing your thoughts and actions so that you can live from true choice in the present moment rather than being run by programming from the past. We're almost done with the part here. By achieving consciousness, we can live from who we are today rather than who we were yesterday. In this way, we can respond appropriately to situations, tapping the full range and potential of all of our skills and talents rather than inappropriately reacting to events driven by fears and insecurities of the past. Once you are conscious, you can see your programming for what it simply is. It's simply a recording of information you received and believed in the past when you were too young to know any better. You can see this conditioning is not who you are, but who you learn to be. You can see that you are not the recording, but the recorder. You are not the content in the glass, but the glass itself. You are not the software, but the hardware. Yes, genetics play a role, and yes, spiritual aspects may come into play. But much of what shapes who you are comes from other people's beliefs and information. I'm going to say that again. Much of what shapes who you are comes from other people's beliefs and information. And so here's my question to you. What do you have to say about that? That's the past, right? We talk about the rear view mirror as this tiny little thing. We're not supposed to be focusing 100% on that. We look at the big front windshield because that's where we're headed. And it's important. There's some important information there. So, as I said earlier, beliefs are not necessarily true or false or right or wrong, but regardless of their validity, beliefs are opinions that are passed around and down from generation to generation. We talk about that a lot, how we create information is passed down generation to generation. And it's not just the information about wealth, it is the beliefs about wealth and what they're raised in. Knowing this, you can consciously choose to release any belief or way of being that is not supportive to your wealth, and you could replace it with one that is. In this course, we teach that no thought lives in your head rent-free. Each thought you have will either be an investment or a cost. Now, I'm going to say that again, because think about that. If you start to consider that your thoughts are either leading you towards what you want or away from what you want, you're going to pay more attention to them. So no thought lives in your head rent-free. Each thought you have will either be an investment or a cost. It will either move you toward happiness and success or away from it. It will either empower you or disempower you. That's why it is imperative you choose your thoughts and beliefs wisely. Realize your thoughts and beliefs aren't who you are, and they're not necessarily attached to you. As precious as you believe them to be, they have no more importance than and meaning than you give to them. Nothing has meaning except for the meaning that you give to it. That's the good news. So recall at the beginning of the book, he suggested you don't believe a word he says. Well, I want you to take that off also into your life. Don't believe a word that you say. Our first thought is not always our best thought. Mostly it's from the past and it's to survive. If you want to start enlightenment, don't believe a thought you think. Start to challenge those thoughts. That's from the past. And get really clear on what you want. What do you say that your thoughts and beliefs are going to be? You have control over that. So meanwhile, if you're like most people, you're going to believe something, you might as well adopt beliefs that support you, rich beliefs. Remember, thoughts lead to feelings, which lead to actions, which lead to results. You can choose to think and act like rich people do, and therefore create the results that rich people create. So the question is, how do rich people think and act? That's what we're going to be covering starting next week in part 2 of the book. So here's the declaration. So first of all, I'll put your hand on your heart. We're going to take a deep breath in. And then exhale for 5 seconds. Feel those 4 emotions of appreciation and gratitude, care, and compassion. Mostly compassion for yourself. That might be new for some people. Feel those feelings and declare, I observe my thoughts and entertain only those that empower me. I have a millionaire mind. So this, I'm hoping, really has woken up some of you and to start to see like where your past is. It's not in your past, it's in your future. And the great news is, what do you have to say about it? You now have the tools to start to impact that. So Coach Benjamin or Dr. Parker, I'd love to hear from you guys first. What's going on?
Wow, be the change. Listen, I'm the glass, not what's in it. You know what I'm saying? It's all mindset. Hey, before we go further, Connie, I want to say happy birthday to Michelle Cawley, who's celebrating her birthday with us this morning. Happy birthday, young lady, and God bless you with many more.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. But Connie, once again, you knocked it out of the park. Guys, this is strong stuff right here. Imagine grasping these concepts and applying them in your life and watch what's changed. A lot of who you are has everything to do with your upbringing, you know, what's been poured into you, having you believe myths, things that are not even true. This whole concept that money doesn't grow on trees, they're lying. It does grow on trees. So, I mean, this once again proves that you spoke about free will, that's the greatest gift that we were given.
Yeah.
And we have to exercise that, but we can be whoever we want to be.
Yes.
Wow. Big good stuff. I know a lot of folks want to jump in, chime in.
Absolutely. I'm gonna just dig on build on top of that. Whereas we have the ability to control our destiny. That's the beauty of being a human being. And I mean, when I first read this book years ago, the financial thermostat was eye-opening. You know, and then you become conscious of, you know, you're making a certain amount of money, you're about to elevate to a next level, and you subconsciously sabotage yourself. It's a real thing. We have the ability to change that. You have the ability to increase your thermostat. What is it? You have the thermostat, you have the thing that, one of the things, I don't remember if you read that, but there's 2 different tools in your house. You have the thermostat, and then you have that which measures temperature. The thermostat is where you increase or decrease. You must be the thermostat. And that's where we have to become the thermostat. We must increase our levels in consciousness, awareness, be worthy of all that is good, becoming wealthy. This book is absolutely amazing. I'm glad we're digging into it. Thank you, Connie. Great job.
I love what you were saying. Become the thermostat. That's a great, that's so great.
Thank you.
Thank you. So who else would like to share?
I'm sorry. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning,
Good
Connie.
morning, Miss Bartley.
How you doing?
Fantastic. Good to hear
Outstanding.
from you.
It's so noisy in here, but I'm just piggybacking off of Benjamin McCrae. The thermostat, right? It
Yeah.
sets the temperature, but the thermometer give you it tests,
That's it. It measures, it lets you know what the environment is. That's it. Yep.
that's
Thermometer.
it. Okay, yeah. So the thermometer, it gives you oh my gosh, I can't get it out.
So the thermometer just measures what's so, whereas a thermostat will adjust, right? The thermostat's what if it's too hot, the air will kick on. If it's too cold, the heat will kick on, right?
Right. There it is. So the thermometer, it what you do with the thermometer, right? The thermometer is just a way of oh God, how I forget it.
Measures, right?
Yeah. I can't get my thought across right now.
It's all good.
I would say it gauges the environment,
Oh, look at that.
the thermometer.
It engages the environment. Yeah.
It gauges, it lets you know what the temperature is set at, what the where you are at that moment. That's the thermometer.
Right. More like don't let someone temperature gauge you. You set the atmosphere. In other words.
When you're the thermostat, you set it. Yeah.
Right. When you're the thermostat, you set the atmosphere. Don't let nobody temperature gauge you and be, you don't bring your feelings up. I get it. I like that. I like that concept. I'm just thinking out loud. But we need to live our best lives, guys.
We truly have, I say it every week, we truly have everything we need. We have the financial experts to take care of all of the, paperwork to get us where we need to be. We in a plan, and we just follow that. And we have the mindset piece and the training and the presentations that are available all week. I mean, if you do not massively have achieved massive success in this business, it's not because we have not given you everything possible to do that. This platform is so invaluable.
Absolutely. And I like the thing about when we were talking about being uncomfortable, and like Gerald Parker says, right? We got to stay excited to stay broke. I say we got to stay uncomfortable. Okay. Or we're going to broke.
Everything you want is outside your comfort zone. And all it is brain patterns. Like once you see that it's just a brain pattern, and that's why it feels uncomfortable. And the great news is we can do something about it.
That's it. We're here to make a difference. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you,
Ms. Bartley. I think Virginia LeBron is up next.
Good morning, Miss Connie. Thank you for
morning.
being here every Saturday. And like you say, the thermostat, that's right. We're with you guys. We have to be in the higher. We have to be, every time you feel low and cold, get together. One part that I like that you was talking about, the heart. And every morning you thank God first for everything they gave us, because without him, we're not nobody.
Amen.
And I'm learning that every morning that I do meditation. I really do. And I love it. And it's helping me a lot. But in one section that you say about money, I always say money is energy.
Yes.
But that energy, it has to keep circulating. Don't hold the money in the bank, and invest in your mind. Some people, and I put myself, because when I started doing network marketing, I was like, I'm not gonna spend to learn something. I had little money. I can spend that little money. But I learned when they told me, that's right, you need to spend on your mind because you had little money. So money is energy. And that energy, we need to continue circulate. Put it in a place that's gonna bring more money to you for whatever reason you need the money, but not because we have different reasons about the money. But money is only a kind. 70% kind is a paper, but that paper had a value that we need in life. You know, when people say money is evil, no, money pay you rent, money pay you water, money pay you food, you know, and that's not evil. That's
Right.
something that you exchange. But to have that, you have to have the love, compassion, what you say, to bring the people the information with love. If you not feel that you're gonna help, and if you not feel that in your heart, that whatever you do, like us, financial, helping a family, get the financial and the good health, you know, if you not feel that inside of you, you will not, you will not get no money, because that's what we hear. But the key is not the money. The key is to help others, and we receive
Yes.
the money that you need. So that's what I think I get through this chapter that you read, Connie, and really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And let me know if I say something wrong, I don't know, but
Oh, no, it was
that's
perfect.
what I
I love
think.
what you said about money is energy and keep it moving. That's why it's called currency, you know, like the current of the ocean. It's called currency
Yes.
for a reason. And I also loved what you had said about, you know, we get to say, like, we get to create it and start with appreciation with God and having compassion and care for those that we're presenting this opportunity to. So again, you could do that simple exercise of, you know, gently placing your hand on your heart, slow down your breath so you know you're safe. When you're making these calls to share with people, again, they could hear it on our vocal cords. Our emotions are imprinted on our vocal cords. So when we touch our heart and slow down our breath, and then start to generate those feelings of appreciation for the person we're talking with, and compassion for where they're at. And again, compassion for yourself. And when you come from that space, when your heart energy is activated and you approach people with this opportunity, I'm telling you, you are unstoppable. And today, you know, in about 45 minutes, we're going to have an opportunity to have our guests in front of Coach Benjamin. And then I think it's 1:00 Eastern time that we're going to be able to live stream, see what's going on in Puerto Rico, and to be able to invite our guests to that. And again, when you come from knowing what we know now, it is a game changer. So thank you so much, Ms. LeBron.
Yes. And also money talk, but also listen.
That's right. So Ms. Lynette Dirtsky, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So what are you getting from this today?
A lot. It's dirty, but we
Dirty.
listen to most first three, last three, ignore the middle.
Okay.
A couple of things. I'm assuming that we're supposed to be reading what you're going to be talking about next week. Is that correct?
Yes, we're going to start with part 2 next week.
And so it says the wealth files, but it doesn't actually start. I mean, there's a space before we get to number 1.
Right.
Okay. Are we going to do each one of those wealth files
Oh, we're going to
a
week
week?
book. Oh, it just
Pardon?
depends on the timing. So it'll just depend. This is, like I said, this is an unusual structured book. So it'll depend on, like, really how God moves me and what we're going, like what he gives me to share with you all.
Okay. I would like your distinction between gratitude and appreciation.
So that was what the Heart Math Institute came out with. For me, I think it's they're the same, in my opinion. They specifically said, you know, the 4 key emotions were gratitude, appreciation, care and compassion. So to me, gratitude and appreciation are very similar, and so is care and compassion. Those two are similar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Fernando Ramirez from California, early there. So I'm so glad you're on.
Thank you very much. I would never miss this and for anything in the world. Connie, thank you so much for today's reading. Wow, it's impressive to go back to this book. I read it back, you know, when my thermostat had become a thermometer.
Yeah, that
I was
happens.
letting things around me, you know, I changed my perspective of money because I read this book back in 2005 after I've lost my business, generating 250,000 a year. So having nothing afterwards, it just kind of re-engaged me back to how things changed afterwards. And I can compare a thermostat to understanding what temperature does water boil.
Hmm,
It boils at 212 degrees,
that's right.
right? It can harness the egg or it can soften the potato. So we got to understand that, you know, if you know exactly what temperature water boils, I can read back to an experience of 13 years of the previous provider where it led me to 212 degrees. So right now it's like we're increasing the heat of the moment in this incredible company that we're in now, which is a year. And I'm thinking, you know, we're about to boil water here at 212 degrees, right? So reading this book where it says the only way to permanently change the temperature in the room is to reset the thermostat. So understanding that the thermostat for me is resetting it and heating the water at 212 degrees. So what I'm trying to say with this is you gotta become uncomfortable and be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
That's right.
It's the only way to set a high standard of your expectations because, you know, the level of income that you get accustomed to, it gets you right back to where it needs to be, right? So that's the experience that I'm having now. It's like, okay, we gotta increase the heat to get it to 212, and we're about to make that happen, that burst, and I can feel it here because readings, staying committed, waking up at 5:30 a.m., preparing coffee every single day. For lots of people, it's not comfortable. I've learned to adapt to 5:30 a.m. every single day. I don't need an alarm clock. It just wakes me up because I love to be uncomfortable. And anytime I don't feel uncomfortable, I feel I'm not serving. So Connie, I appreciate you, you know, preparing your mindset to be able to deliver to us today. Makes me feel good. I feel that we're setting the temperature to where it needs to be. So all of us can achieve our financial goals and dreams. So I'm ready and I thank you. Saturday right now for me is like, wow. I'm excited to really start, you know, making my calls, inviting folks, connecting with people and get this going to a high level of speed. Thanks, Connie.
Well, thank you so much for your example. And we get to model from, you know, you guys, you know, you and Miss Ana Rodriguez and Dr. G.W. Parker, you know, have achieved regional and higher, right? And so it's great to be able to have a model that shows up so consistently in our life and on this platform to do that. So thank you so much for sharing that with us and for being the leader that you are.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you, everyone. Love you all.
Okay, Mr. Lean Redfern, what are you hearing?
Hi, good morning to everybody. So money to me is psychological, and some people spoke today, that thermostat reads the temperature in that room, that thermometer reads the temperature in that room that we set by the thermostat. And if we allow others to control that thermostat, then things will get out of hand. And so I like when you said that thoughts becomes feelings and then actions and then results. And I do believe in the laws of attraction. And first and foremost, God is always number one, and God does give us free will. And thank you so much for this inspirational talk. On that note, I would love in a few months to get some type of coaching from you.
Oh, yeah, reach out to me. I'm on Facebook and everywhere else.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Coach
Hey,
Benson.
it's not to continue this, but Darlene hit something, you know, how many of us had our parents say, get your hand off that thermostat?
That's true.
Because if you allow anybody to touch that thermostat, it'll run your bill up.
Mhm.
It'll run your bill up. So like in the summertime, you got the air conditioning blasting. In the winter, you got the heat blasting. You have to control that thermostat. If anybody touches it, it can cost you. So
Right.
yeah, that's the same thing in our psychological mindset. So
Yeah, if you're running around unconscious, you have got your past conditioning, your parents, your grandparents, aunties, uncles, all the people in your past that gave you that conditioning, that message. They are controlling your thermostat and how high you can go. I mean, it's just how it works. And to have access to the unconscious mind where it's all created to begin with. And again, like, and as parents, what messages are you giving, especially if you're a parent or a grandparent of someone birthed to age 7? It is so critical. You have such an opportunity. So, oh, Miss Ana Rodriguez, Regional, I'm so excited to hear what you have to say this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I was not gonna talk because it's a little late, but I was like, I have to say something when I hear about the paying the bill and the bill comes higher when you change that, right? And sometimes we need to be willing to pay, right? Sometimes we need to be willing to make that effort to pay more. You know what? Because when we are comfortable, we're not growing. We don't feel good, right?
That's
and
right.
right now, it's so funny because right now I'm going through a change because I was too comfortable. You get to a point that you're okay, I'm making this money, I'm comfortable. But when you're uncomfortable, you're not growing. You got to be uncomfortable. So right now I'm moving. I just moved to another city and it's a new city for me. And I'm renting my house, right? So I was talking with, I hired a company to manage my property. And then they were telling me, but you're a realtor, why don't you manage your property? And I'm like, because I don't have time to be dealing with tenants. I can be making money. So why you guys do that job? Because I was not born to be making, that type of job. So
Right.
it has to be, even though we were born to success, we know that we're programmed to lose, right? So we got to go back to that stage. Okay, what do I can be working, cutting the grass of my own house. I can be managing that. But what can I do better that I can make more money? I pay somebody to cut my grass, to manage my property, to deal with the tenants. Well, I can make a lot of money in my company, right? So we need to be willing to pay. So we need to clean the mentality that don't touch the thermometer because it's gonna, the bill is gonna come high. Let's see what's gonna bring with that. What's gonna come with that, right? And stop watching TV. Stop watching the news. Like what some people are right now, like being programmed that the economy is going to fall, that the economy is really bad, that we are in a recession. You know what I'm watching in Netflix? How to Sell Sunset. I'm watching how people are buying property of $30 million because while people are, crying because they don't have any money because the war is ending, there's still some people making their own economy.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
still some people making crazy money. So what do you want to watch? You want to keep going to that line where people, are going to lose, or you want to change just that mentality? Let me see what rich people are doing right now in this economy, right? And it's all about that mindset. And I'm so happy for this reading, Connie. Like, I'm so happy for what you're doing for the team. My daughter is a pediatrics nurse, and she was listening to you, and she was like, "Is she a nurse?" Because she was listening when she was reading, and then she was like, "Is she a nurse?" The terminology that you're using, and I'm like, no, she's a coach. And she was, oh, that's really good. So thank you for everything that you do for the team, Connie.
Thank you. So these were pearls from a regional. Do you guys get that? Like, are you listening and paying attention to what she just said? I just want to highlight, you were talking about being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like if you're not, growth happens when you're uncomfortable. And again, if you could kind of wrap your mind around It really is literally the brain patterns. You know, one of the coaches I have just has said to me, you don't have a thinking problem, you have a habit problem. What are the habits? Because those habits are brain patterns. And again, the Heart Math Institute says it takes about 3 days to get those new neural pathways hardwired. So, and you know, where are you comfortable at making, you know, 1-star pay or 2-star pay, or, you know, are you start to get like, where is your thermostat? Where are you comfortable? And push back out beyond that. You know, like here's, you know, where are you at? Here's our comp plan, right? So where do you start to feel uncomfortable? That's your next level, just so you know. Wherever you start to feel like, I don't know if I could, you know, handle a team that size. And here's the beauty of this platform. We have got the system and structure in place that you don't have to do all the work. You know, we have everything we need. And while you're inspired, while those positive emotions are imprinted on your vocal cords and people can hear your excitement, right? Dr. Parker, get excited or stay broke forever. Now is the time to get people on the next Zoom with Coach Benjamin McCrae. And again, at 1, and again, I do not know Spanish yet. And I know that the excitement, just getting people to watch what's going on there, that excitement and that energy and the feeling that's going to be coming through the Facebook page, we're going to be able to feel that and experience that. So get as many people as you want to impact their lives onto those Zooms. So Coach Benjamin, is there anything else you want to say about what's the next thing? And then tonight, oh my gosh, tonight we have the infamous best trainer ever, Mr. Wendell Phillips, going to be on talking about the new credit restoration piece of our program. And I'm telling you, we have everything you need today. So plug in and plug your people in. It's such an extraordinary opportunity today with what we have lined up. The training is phenomenal. So definitely plug in.
Absolutely. And the key thing is this, guys, and one thing I love about Zoom presentations, you can catch a person at the last minute because they don't have to get dressed and drive across town to get to a hotel or to a living room. Just simply ask them, what are you doing in the next 5 minutes? What are you doing at 11 o'clock? And that's how I ask them. I qualify them. Hey, nothing, what's up? I need you to jump onto this Zoom.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's build hard to our events that's lined up for the rest of the day. Great job, Connie. As usual, you knocked it out the park. Love you.
Love you. Have a
Hey,
fantastic-
Connie, I learned a new phrase,
Yeah.
copying Dr. GW. Get uncomfortable or stay broke forever.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
That is exactly right. We got big things. We got big things on the horizon. Step into it. Get uncomfortable or stay broke forever.
All right, guys. Well, we're rocking and rolling.
Awesome job, guys. See you at 11.
Thank you, Dr. Parker.
You're welcome.